Hello, friends, and welcome to Escaping the Mouse with your host, me, Breck Roll. All right, this video is going to be a little bit different from things that we've done in the past couple weeks, but it was something that's kind of been on my mind for the past couple days, and it was actually triggered by a couple of events that have happened in the past couple days that kind of made me want to get in here and talk about this a little bit. About 2 days ago, somebody posted about the Wuhan virus, the coronavirus that's kind of turned into a pandemic and has everyone panicking right now. And somebody posted about that on the Facebook page, and I gave a little bit of an answer to that. And then yesterday I was at the grocery store, and all-out panic clearly has gone on because all of the shelves were empty. I've now been in 3 different grocery stores, and this isn't just an isolated incident. So I want to show you first off a little bit of footage I got from the grocery store that I shot this morning, and then we're going to talk a little bit about coronavirus, what it really is, and how big of a threat it is, because I think it's kind of being overblown a little bit. So I think the best lesson is just don't panic, but let's try and learn from this. So let's look at the footage from the grocery store. All right, so yeah, this is the toilet paper roll at HEB right now. Every single aisle is empty here. Yeah, this is getting crazy, people. Absolutely crazy. There's just nothing on any of these aisles. Anything that's edible has been gone. And here's the cereal aisle. We actually got a little bit of stuff in here, but not a whole lot. Crazy. All the stuff nobody wants. I guess people aren't panicking too much about candy, though. Still plenty of that. There's my old favorite grapefruit juice, if I ever need that. Apparently that's not going very fast either. Not a whole lot of water on the shelves either. Actually, this is more than what I saw in another HEB last night. But yeah, it's still crazy. All this is normally just filled with water. Not today. Pasta aisle. Yeah, that's all wiped out too. Insane. Even the produce section has been decimated. I was actually talking to somebody this morning. They were saying that there were no bananas in here. Apparently they have restocked. So they got bananas now. Additionally, they just made an announcement over the PA that's saying that they're cutting hours today from 8 to 8. I guess they usually open later than that, and they want to allow enough time to restock at night. That's how bad this is. Kind of scary looking, isn't it? It makes it look like it's a lot worse than it really is. And that's a lot of the problem here, is I think that this is largely being driven by the media, who are interested in getting ratings, and politicians who are interested in scoring cheap political points, no matter what side they're on. The truth is, let's look at some facts and see what's really going on. All right, so this is a website that's being published and produced by the Center for Systems Science and Engineering and Johns Hopkins University. And basically this is a live tracker that's showing where the Wuhan coronavirus is all over the world. And as you can see, it's really bad here in Asia, in China, and around that area. But what I want you to do is I want you to notice a couple things. First off, there's this number in the upper left-hand corner here. This is the number of total confirmed cases there are in the world, 154,219. And this number here is the number of deaths that have occurred right now, as of right now, 5,789. And this is the number of people that have recovered. Now, everyone else is kind of in the state of limbo. They have the disease, but they're being treated. But these are very, very low numbers. I remind you that we've been through medical scares like SARS and swine flu and H1N1 and Ebola, which actually had many more deaths and a much higher fatality rate than this virus does. So, and we never panicked over that. We just said, okay, yeah, this is happening. Let's take some basic precautions and do what we have to stay healthy. Now, blow up on some of these areas here. Obviously, this is where the worst of it is in China. Right next to Wuhan, China, which is why it's called the Wuhan virus. And when you go in and look on these individual sections here, click on them, 6,790 or 67,790, 3,000 deaths, 52,000, almost 53,000 recovered, and 11,700 still exist. So that sounds bad, but even there, look at the survival rate. The survival rate is what, about 4%, or the fatality rate is about 4%. 96% of people who get this virus get over it. So this is a good reason not to necessarily panic on all this stuff, because it's being overreacted to a lot. It isn't as serious. We're not all going to die. Unfortunately, it's spread into Europe. But even there, it isn't as serious. But you go into let's go look at France, for instance, here. 3,600 cases, 79 have died. That's a very, very small number. Go over the sea here to the U.S. because that's where I am. And go down here and we can click on individual countries. United States has currently 2,572 cases and 51 deaths. So this is not a pandemic like everyone's saying. We're not all going to die. This isn't The Stand. Stephen King's movie The Stand, where a virus wipes out 99.9% of the population and the survivors have to try and band together and survive. This is something that we're going to get past. In fact, I've been reading about this for a few days. One of the things that I've heard is that already the virus is kind of on the retreat in China. Because, this is kind of a seasonal thing. What'll happen is it'll be bad for a certain time, and then once it gets past the season, the virus will kind of fade away. And it's probably just going to be something that we're going to have to get used to for a while. But it's not a reason to panic. Now, there's actually a bunch of things that the CDC has said that we can do to protect ourselves and to increase our chance of survival beyond that 96 to 98% of people who already survive. One of the things you got to remember is that the best thing that can happen to you if you have the virus is that if you detect it early and get into the doctor and get treated, you have the best chance of survival. Because what the virus does to the body is damaging to the body, but the damage is cumulative. So if you catch it after one day, it's going to be far better for you, and there's going to be far better survival options than if you catch it on the 5th day or the 10th day or however long. The longer it has to brew, the worse it's going to get. So that's the first clue right there. If you feel sick, go to the doctor. Have them check you out. They're getting to the point now where we have the ability to test for this. So, if you have any question, don't overdo it. Don't do it every day, because let's face it, there aren't enough test strips in the world right now for everyone to go in every day and have it tested. Just be cautious, think, and take reasonable precautions. So let's talk about what some of these things that the CDC has said that we should do to help protect ourselves, because it's actually really simple. Now, according to the Center for Disease Control, the symptoms of the Wuhan coronavirus are going to start off with a fever, cough, and shortness of breath, and this will happen usually between 2 and 14 days after exposure to the virus. As it progresses, it's going to get worse. There'll be difficulty breathing and shortness of breath, persistent pain or pressure in the chest, confusion, and even blushing lips or face. So if you see any of these symptoms, take some simple precautions. Segregate yourself in the house. Stay away from people. Contact your doctor. Now, the CDC actually recommends that if you have these symptoms, that you contact your doctor on the phone first and ask them, how they want to deal with this. Because if it is the Wuhan coronavirus, then obviously you don't want to go to a packed doctor's office and end up infecting a bunch of other people. They will have procedures on how to deal with this and what to do first. Now, one of the things about this disease, it seems to go after older people who have chronic medical conditions like heart or lung disease, diabetes, or even individuals that just have kind of a compromised immune system. So talk to your healthcare provider and figure out what additional steps that you should be taking to protect yourself. But here are some simple steps that you can take according to the CDC that will help you reduce the risk of this. First, be clean. Wash your hands. Wash them often with soap and water for at least 20 seconds. Get all surfaces, front, back, between the fingers and your finger at the tips of your fingers. And like I said, they say sing the alphabet song twice or sing happy birthday twice. That's 20 seconds. Do that regularly. Use hand sanitizer with at least 60% alcohol. That's always a good thing. And then even when you're doing that, avoid touching your eyes, avoid touching your nose, avoid touching your mouth. Those are the places where the virus can get into your body. It's not really going to go through your skin. If it's on your hands, it's not going to dig through into your body from there. It's going to get in from your mouth, your nose, or your eyes. So don't touch your mouth, nose, or eyes with your hands. That's just very simple. I know it's a very maybe a hard habit to do, but it's really a simple thing. In fact, I've been watching a couple of videos of politicians that are telling you, don't touch your mouth, don't touch your nose. And, one of them was sitting there brushing her hair aside all the time, during the whole thing. And another one was reading a script, and when she got to the end of the page, she did and then flip the page with her finger. So don't do that, all right? Very simple. Wash your hands, sanitize your hands with a hand sanitizer that has at least 60% alcohol. Don't touch your eyes, mouth, or nose. Easy. Avoid close contact with people. It's airborne, which means it's passing in air molecules that are that you can inhale. So if you stay, 6 or so feet away from people, then you're reducing your risk of doing it. I know that's not always possible, but if you can, do it. If you are sick, stay home. Do not go out in public if you're sick, because that's a primary way that you can spread the disease. And while it may not be serious for you, it could be serious for someone else. Cover your coughs and sneezes. It's a very simple thing. Everyone says cover your mouth with your hands. Well, your hands are the filthiest thing ever. So if you're going to cover it with your hands, first off, your hands aren't really airproof. So what you're doing is you're just blowing vapor particles, virus, between your fingers and such. So don't do that. If you have to cough or sneeze, do this. Right into the sleeve of your shirt there, right there at your elbow, right there. Okay, that's a good way to do it. If you're sick, then they recommend you wear the face mask because that will help prevent you from passing the virus on to others. If you're not sick, they say don't wear that face mask because it doesn't really do any good. Because when you're breathing, these face masks, the air is coming out here between your nose, it's coming down underneath your chin, it's coming in from the side. You're not really, all you're doing is preventing, the contaminated air from getting out, not really preventing contaminated air from getting in. It's just the way they work. If you're going to wear a full-on spacesuit, that's fine. You're going to look like a goof, but that will probably work. And then clean and disinfect things that you touch all the time. Countertops, doorknobs, your cell phone. Those are things that are just carrying disease. And finally, and I can't emphasize this enough, just based on what I've seen for the past few days, don't hoard. We're going to get past this, okay? Worst case scenario, this virus is lethal to about 4% of the people. 4%. And if you live in a country with good health care and modern amenities, you know what? The chances of that are even lower. I've seen that there are some countries out there who have Yeah, an almost 99.9% survival rate for people who contract the virus. So, like I said, if you feel it, go to the doctor, contact them first on the phone, let them know what's going on. But don't panic. We're going to get through this. This thing's going to be fine. And we're all going to be laughing about this in a couple of months. So anyway, I think that's all that I have for today. Thank you as always for watching. Hope you learned something. And I'll see you next time on Escaping the Mouse. Good night.